Buenos dias, amigos from the lakeside area, and I hope that some of you, at least, have seen previous video with some friends of mine, Mike and Joe. If you haven't, please look at it. It's a short video, something like 5 or 6 minutes. Please look at that video, and I want to talk a little bit about what we were doing. We were having a lot of fun yesterday, going around different parts of the lakeside area. And they are familiar with the lakeside area, but there are certain places that they haven't been to, and I want to introduce them to some places there and some people that I know and have met there and show them different things that they may not have seen other times or the first time they were in Jocotepec. Now, they have been to the Jocotepec Cultural Center before, the plaza and around there, but I want to show them even more. Now, first, before I get into that, I want to mention that I had put up a long video. It was about Jocotepec. I've uploaded many videos from Jocotepec, but this particular video was talking about the cultural, educational, and agricultural aspects of Jocotepec, Lake Chapala, and that surrounding area there. Now, there are people there who can, and I've learned from them. They help me out with the cultural and to learn about the cultural, educational, and agricultural parts there. There are people who can talk to you about those things, and I learned quite a bit. There's also, if you go to that cultural center, once again, Mike and Joan, if I haven't mentioned, they've been there before. You can take, there are lessons. You can be taught painting there. Very inexpensive, very inexpensive. Take painting lessons there. You can take ballet lessons there, modern dance lessons. You could also take piano lessons, violin lessons, and they have many other types of classes. Children, they teach children, local children, the mariachi tradition, teaching them mariachi. They're in Jocotepec, Chante, and other parts of the lakeside area. That's quite exciting. A lot of things you can do there. They do have art exhibitions there, as well as beautiful murals all around there. So that being said, I want to say that we had started out in San Antonio, and they had mentioned that they had been to Jocotepec before, and I did know that, but they had never been to the Malecon in Jocotepec. So I said, let's get down there and visit that. But on the way, we had met up in San Antonio. We went through Ajijic, through La Floresta there. We took a ride to the upper La Floresta for a few minutes, went down to Central Ajijic, went into West Ajijic, went through up to San Juan Cosala. Now, they're familiar with those areas, but they had never been to lower San Juan Cosala. So I said, let's dip down there and go for a ride, show them the plaza, show them different things. We went back up to the Carretera Highway. Now, the thing about it is there's a really nice coffee shop. I did videos there too. It's actually a restaurant, a coffee shop, and they sell art there. Beautiful art. And that is on the lower side of San Juan Cosala, right on the Carretera there. We then went over to El Chante in Chantepec. We dipped down there. Now, they had been through on the highway before, on the Carretera Highway there before, but they had never been into the town there. And we took a ride, showed them the plaza there, different things in El Chante and Chantepec. We met these nice Mexican young guys. They were selling pastries and donuts on a tray. We got some of those, a bunch of those, and they were delicious. We then went through Chantepec up through El Chante before. Now, we did pass up some fractamentos. They were familiar with those. Some fractamentos and condos, places like that. And then if I didn't mention, I did want to say, let me backtrack for a second. I did show them the bus route that goes down to Chantepec and El Chante. So once we got back up to El Chante, we started going into Jocotepec. But at the beginning of Jocotepec, there is a highway that'll take you to Guadalajara. They were not aware of that. I shot videos about that too. We went up to the Mirador, and I'm going to tell you, I do videos on all this, have done videos on this stuff. The Mirador, if you haven't been to the Mirador, I would say it's a must-see. It's another place where you can find a big Jocotepec sign. You look down into the town of Jocotepec, you can see the lake and other towns. You could also see the south side of Lake Chapala. Its views are spectacular. We spent about 20 minutes there at least. Then I showed them where the restaurant is right there on the Mirador. I've done videos there, been to eat there before. It's a great restaurant. Got spectacular views right there too. Then we went to some roads. I showed them where you can take roads. You can walk or dive. If you're even up at that Mirador, you could go right into the town of Jocotepec. Now, what we did is I showed them where some of those roads are, but we drove down a newly paved road right into central Jocotepec. Once we got into central Jocotepec, I took them to show them a pharmacy, where a pharmacy is. Now, I met the owner of this pharmacy about 3 weeks ago. He speaks English well. We had a conversation with him. Then we went on also to, I showed them a restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants in Jocotepec. Now, the manager of this restaurant, I met her and her older brother a year ago, and I talked about that in a video. Now, her brother speaks English, but he's from Guadalajara. She's from Jocotepec, and she doesn't speak any English at all. I keep in contact with her sometimes, but what happened is we got a chance to talk with her. I introduced Mike and Joan to her. We were talking for a few minutes in Spanish with her. We were communicating well with her in Spanish. Mike got out of the car. He went and bought some pastries and some bread there, some croissants. And we had those. The croissants are great. He brought the bread home. But he had 2 bags of stuff he bought from there. It's a great restaurant. It's got delicious food, different types of lunches and breakfasts there. Great restaurant there. We went to go down the street a little bit. Then I showed them where they could catch taxis, or where people can catch taxis. There's a lineup of taxis you could catch. And then that is directly or diagonally across from the Jocotepec Cultural Center, where they've been before on an earlier trip. Now, I want to say, what else? We went through, I showed them markets. They have been there a little bit outside the plaza, but I showed them where the big mercado is, and showed them around some of those tiendas. And tiendas, for those who aren't aware, that's another word for family-owned stores. I call them mom and pop stores when I'm up in the USA, or when I was a kid, we'd call them the mom and pop stores. But here in Mexico, I call them tiendas. We refer to them as tiendas. They don't exist in the communities that I lived up in the USA anymore, but there are a lot of them here in Mexico. And some of them even have U.S. products, if you're looking for U.S. products. So, okay, we met a couple people from there. Also, I took them to a cemetery. Now, this is a beautiful cemetery. We didn't walk inside, but you could see from the outer, or from outside the cemetery, that it's beautiful in there. Now, the reason I took them down there, I wanted to show them that there's murals there. Beautiful murals on the facade of the cemetery. Now, yesterday, the facade had beautiful mural of Dia de los Muertos. So there's a beautiful mural there too. We went on and I showed them where the bus stations were. I took them to another one of my favorite restaurants there in the area. And that's a place where they make everything from scratch. They have pastries, delicious pastries over there. They also make some of the best pizza I've ever tasted in Lakeside. You can get vegetarian pizza there. You can get pizza with salmon. You can get pizza with other types of items, and it is delicious. We then took a ride. I showed them where a laundromat is. A nice laundromat. You're going to find nice laundromats all over Lakeside. I did take them before we went to the Malecon. They had never been. As many times as they've been in Lakeside and stayed in Lakeside, they never knew where the Malecon was, the Jocotepec Malecon. They'd never been there, actually. So I took them there. But before that, I showed them where there's a collegio, where Mexican residents, there's a college there. We went by on our way to the Malecon. I showed them where some department stores are. Now, they are familiar with the Electra department store. There's one in Chapala, and there is also a Capel department store in Chapala. They were familiar with that, but they didn't know that there was a Capel store right there in Jocotepec Central. It's a good department store. Those places, visit those too. So we wind up getting over to the Malecon, and there is a bike path. They're aware of that, and we had seen that. And I had been on that bike path, used that bike path as an e-biker before for 6 weeks, and I went around all from Chapala to Jocotepec in different spurts, and I take stops every now and then. But you can get there on e-bike. The buses run frequently there. You can catch taxis. You can rent a car and go out there. Get there with other expats. They can show you around, some who might have some experience there, or just go down there. Even if you don't have experience, visit these towns. They're beautiful. Now, I want to mention, I don't know if I mentioned the dance. Yeah, I mentioned all that, the Jocotepec Cultural Center. But I do want to say that it is a great place. Also, I want to say I've done a lot of videos on the south side. And I visited and been to and explored the south side of Lake Chapala as well. I showed them that. You can see it across the lake. I've covered towns and have visited and explored towns all the way up to Mazamitla, as well as other parts of the lakeside area, all the parts, every part of the lakeside area and beyond. Now, I do want to say also, if you, Mike and Joan, now I don't know if it's a result of seeing these videos that I put out a while back ago. I think it could be, but I can't really remember. They had went to Tlaquepaque and Guadalajara, and after I met them, they told me about, they went on a railway system in the Guadalajara area. They traveled underground and above ground on the railway system there. Now, before they had done that, I had did videos of traveling, how I went there alone and traveled on the railway system underneath Guadalajara, Tlaquepaque, different cities there, and above ground as well. So, you know, you can watch. There's a lot you can do. There is a lot you can do if you come down to the lakeside area, whether you're a resident already here and you want to do some things you haven't done before or go to places you haven't been, whether you're a tourist, whether you're here to see family and friends, you can get out to these places. So I'm very happy to have spent some time again with my friends Mike and Joan, and we have said we are going to go over, and I'm going to show them towns that I also explored on the south side of Lake Chapala, including all the way up to Mazamitla. And we need to go, and I need to show them more of the Malecone in Jocotepec. We just didn't have enough time. We had some things to do after, but I have been going to the Malecone in a lot of different areas here in the lakeside area. I've been doing that for a few years. Absolutely enjoy it, and I'm sure you will too. So thanks for watching this video. Tap on that notification bell. You'll be notified of upcoming videos from the lakeside area. Adios, amigos.